Joined now on the show by the 5th-ranked bantamweight fighter in the UFC. It's Michael "Mayday" McDonald who'll be taking on John Linekar as part of UFC Fight Night in Sioux Falls coming up on Wednesday on Fox Sports 1. Michael, thank you very much for joining us today.
No problem.
Now, first and foremost, before we start, I have to get your thoughts on the singer Michael McDonald. Is there sort of an Office Space type situation between the two of you?
I've had quite a few people send me the singer Michael McDonald's photos to autograph, and getting us mixed up and stuff. I've never really listened to much of his music, so I don't even know if I'm a fan. But yeah, I get that a lot.
As someone who despises him myself, you are the better of the two Michael McDonalds. Just want to put that out there first and foremost.
Oh, thank you.
Well, 2-2 in your last 4 fights, but the 2 losses did come against some very, very good fighters within the division. How do you feel your camp has been so far going into this fight in particular?
This has been the absolute best camp I've ever had in my entire life. A month ago, I was in the best shape of my life and just continued. And my fight got bumped up to a 5-round fight anyway, so it's perfect timing for that. No injuries whatsoever. It's actually went relatively perfect.
Now, Lineker is on a 4-fight winning streak heading into this matchup. And what does he do well that you're trying to prepare for to limit him on Wednesday night in particular?
Well, everybody up here at the top of the division, everybody has things that they're good at. But I think you make mistakes, and you really lose what makes you special when you compromise that to try to be anti your opponent. For what does John Lineker do, and how can I change myself to become a new fighter so that I can beat him? Any of the great champions, you don't see them do that with anybody. You see the great champions be themselves every time, and they're just a puzzle that people can't figure out. And I'm not going to go out of my comfort zone and try to figure John out. I'm just going to play me. I'm just going to play my game, and I'm going to let him do his. And we're going to spend some time in his strength area, and we're going to spend some time in my strength area. I think I'm going to be able to survive in his, and I don't think he's going to be able to survive in mine.
Now, I know this was a different weight class for your opponent, but he has missed the weight quite a few times in some of his recent fights here in the UFC. Is that anything that you're worried about at all, or is it just, again, concentrating on your side of the fight?
No, it's not a concern to me. I mean, I'm at a very comfortable weight right now, to where I'm not cutting too much weight, and I think cutting too much weight's a mistake, and I think not cutting enough is a mistake. I like being right in the middle, and so that's where I'm at, and I'm perfectly happy with my weight, and then whatever anybody else decides to do, that's for them. But I think that I do what's best for me.
We're talking with Michael McDonald, who'll be taking on John Linekar as part of the UFC Fight Night in Sioux Falls coming up on Wednesday evening on Fox Sports 1. Now, Michael, how would you assess this bantamweight division? It seems like there's so much talent at the top and throughout the top 10 ranks and even beyond that one. What are your thoughts so far on bantamweight in the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, every division, in my opinion, is just getting better and better. You see people come along that they just start changing people's minds about how you're supposed to train and how you're supposed to fight and what works and what doesn't. There was a stigma for quite a while that traditional karate didn't have a place in MMA, and that's very wrong. And now you're seeing straight karate fighters coming in being amazing, and people are adopting those techniques. I mean, it really is just about, in my opinion, people are learning what can all fit together in one body without tearing it apart. And they're starting to get the hang of that, and so that's just gonna mean that every division is just gonna get that much more dangerous, that much harder to handle, and I'm progressing along with that. I think everybody in the division is. So it's a very interesting time, especially for the fans to see.
Now, we know with the UFC being a global sport that sometimes you'll have a morning fight, or sometimes it'll be super late at night. Sometimes it'll be in Las Vegas. Other times it's going to be in South Dakota. Is it weird having this fight in such a different locale than, say, the bright lights of Las Vegas?
Yes and no. I mean, it is different. I mean, there's not a whole lot of restaurants to go to and stuff like that, but it's not a big deal because I can't eat much anyway, so I'm cutting weight. I mean, there's no fans in the lobby. When you go to Vegas, there's 24/7. There's people in the lobby waiting for autographs and stuff like that. You know, we've really got kind of left alone, which is nice at times so far. You know, but this means that I'm probably going to be fighting around, I think it's like 10:30, 10:15, 10:30 this time. So it's going to be a later time schedule for me to fight. You know, so that's why I got to, you know, I just have to take account for that, and I have to, you know, readjust my time schedule and, you know, train over here like at the same time that I'm going to fight, wake up a little later. So there are some minor adjustments that I need to make, but it's nothing huge.
And speaking of a little adjustment, too, it's a Wednesday fight card as opposed to one on the weekend. So I assume you just pretty much positioned yourself as if this is your weekend coming up in just a couple short days.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I can't, you know, take like my whole like gym and you know, change that. You know, our gym has a very a consistent schedule where all of us fighters can get together, and that's still throughout the week and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the week before this, I mean, we just kind of rearrange our weekends, as you'd say, you know.
Absolutely. Now, just a couple quick things here. The UFC big-time news today. Dana White confirming that the sale is going to be made official here coming up in the next couple of days. Just your thoughts on some new ownership of the Ultimate Fighting Championship now.
It's interesting. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen. I mean, I imagine that with that, some people will lose their jobs and some more people will gain their jobs. You know, I mean, no one knows what that is going to look like and what changes are going to be made. I mean, you know, usually when people buy a company, it's because they think they can make more money and do a better job than the company's currently doing. Usually, you know, so I'm interested to see what ideas that they have and you know, how it's going to affect us as fighters. I'm very interested.
And finally, coming up, a big main event, as you touched on, a 5-round potential fight coming up on Wednesday night. Do you have some sort of a prediction against your fight against John Linekar?
I think there's going to be some incredible stand-up battles. We're both very well-rounded, but you know, my strength is my accurate stand-up, and his is probably his relentless stand-up, and he throws a lot of hooks. You know, a lot of pressure, you know, and I think just what our best strengths are, it's just going to make a very exciting fight for anybody who wants to watch.
Michael Mayday McDonald will be taking on John Linekar as part of the UFC Fight Night main event in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, coming up this Wednesday night on Fox Sports 1. Michael, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck. And again, remember, you're the better of the two Michael McDonalds.
Wonderful. Thank you.